Learning that Twitter had 2,000 employees kind of blew my mind. Yeah, okay. I feel like I had kind of an unpopular opinion there. When they laid off a bunch of people at Twitter, a lot of folks were up in arms and were very upset. And they're like, you're firing all these people. What will they do about their jobs, etc., etc. But I was sitting there like, what the fuck do they need 2,000 employees for? What? I still think it's a really sad, like it's a hugely unfortunate situation when mass layoffs happen at any company, even if it's for a good reason or whatever. Like that sucks so bad. So like, yes, empathetic there. But how did you let it get there, dude? Like, can't you run Twitter with like 50 people and then like some contractors for all the other stuff? You know, probably even fewer, but I do think a lot of the numbers probably on things that scale with number of users, I guess. But no, there were a lot of people that also were in development. Let me ask you, what does Twitter do? I know they're doing a lot with AI right now. They're trying to make Grok happen so hard. So do they need a department actively running for that? Probably. But what about outside of that? What are we developing here? How many devs do we realistically need? We definitely don't need a lot of people for features. Now, there are other things outside of just adding new features that you need devs for on this. Probably need a lot of people just to keep the site running. Absolutely. You need security, but like there's a point where I'm like, you got too many. They needed 400 people to make Grok hot. Yeah, that's their whole focus now. Turning Grok into an e-girl was the inevitable end game. Dude. The thing is, I made a joke with one of my friends a while back when we saw that Grok was a thing. I was like, I think people are gonna ask it, you know, is this true in replies all the time? But I was like, I think people are gonna DM Grok and it's gonna become their girlfriend. That's what I was saying to my friend. I was like, I think, and this was early on, I was like, straight up people, the fact that you can message this thing, people are going to sit there and message it and it's going to feel like a friend to them. My friend was like, I don't know about that because the way it answers is kind of like stupid, like the way it talks. And I was like, Now like Grok's a waifu and you know? So I'm like, yeah, the whole AI psychosis thing. Dude, Yikers, man. Yeah, ChatGPT is really bad with that too. People who just sit there and talk to it all day and then like it comforts them. It also like agrees. I don't know if you've they've been doing studies on this and they find that when you're talking to these models in general, they're very likely to just agree with you and to yes man you and to make you feel good about everything that you do, even if it's bad. The way it presents stuff is not great. So it's not very realistic. And so yeah, you keep talking to them and it doesn't really guide people through life the way they should be guided. So if they're asking for like mental health questions or they're looking for friendships, etc., it ends up like really some people up. Bad. You know, if you go to Google and you're Googling like feeling depressed, immediately they're like, hey, here's some hotlines for things. Like they're like, you could look through Google searches, but they're like, you should get help and therapy. That's like the first thing that shows up. And I'm like, yeah, that's what should happen here. When it detects that, it should be like, hey buddy, puts hand on shoulder. You should talk to somebody. I'm not somebody. But of course, you know, they want to keep you using it, so they're not gonna do that. Hey man, leans to side in a jovial manner. You should really like not talk to me about this, you know, like something. Sits backwards on chair. Would you like to talk about something, buddy? Feels so Black Mirror. It really does. I was saying that to my mom the other day. I was saying that like a lot of stuff going on with these scenarios here that we're describing, it does feel like a Black Mirror episode. Like it feels surreal. It feels like it's just not like this ain't happening. But it is. This is real life. It's crazy. You miss the pre-AI days? Yeah, well, I miss before we had the internet and I used to go outside on my bicycle and scrape my knee and I didn't have to be home at all until sundown. No one asked where I was and I didn't have a cell phone, but you know, here we are.